I guess my interest is to study people who are exceptionally successful and trying to understand how they came to be that successful. And I also tend to tell them that what we've been finding now after doing research on this for 30 years is that we don't really find evidence that people are born to be successful, but rather the things that really does seem to make the difference is what they actually do and how they deliberately change themselves by engaging in very goal-directed practice activities. Now, that kind of ability to perceive a dynamically changing situation in such a way that you will be able to, when you get the ball, know what to do with it, that seems to be something that is very difficult to acquire. And you even have to be sort of aware that that is something that makes the best players different from the less skilled players, that they're actually able to read what other people are going to be here maybe a second from now, because it's going to take time for you when you get the ball to actually send it somewhere else. So it's not enough just knowing where people are when you last looked. You're going to actually have an understanding here what's changing. When you start out at something and show some kind of, that you're better than other kids or adolescents who are just starting out, that doesn't seem to have any really predictive power for whether you're going to actually become very successful, because what it really takes to be successful, we can show, really reflects something that where the individual has really changed. So it's the individual is different from what they used to be when they started, and we attribute that, to the kind of training and the kind of practice activity that they have engaged in. You really don't find that spending more time doing the same thing actually will improve your performance when you measure it by objective criteria.
So basically you need to always operate on this boundary of what you can and cannot currently do. Basically forcing yourself outside of your comfort zone, and it's helpful to not only helpful, but probably mandatory to have some sort of expert giving you feedback. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. So one of the problems when you want to get better at something is, what is it that you can actually change that will actually improve your performance? And most people wouldn't know that because, they're trying to do their best. But by having now a teacher that actually help other individuals and can draw on 100 years of training experience that have been distilled over the years, that teacher can actually look at you and say, well, with about a couple of weeks of practice, you would be able to actually improve this aspect. And here is kind of the practice activities that you can do, where you can actually monitor how you gradually are getting to the point where you can now start doing things that you couldn't do previously. So for example, if there's a difficult note combination for a pianist, how to get that to a speed where you would be able to play it now at kind of the preferred rate of playing will require you kind of doing it and making adjustments, and then eventually you will be able to reach that target speed and having the control over your keystrokes, so you can actually express something musically with hitting those series of keys. And the one thing that I would want to point out is that when people try to become better at what they're doing on the job, one of the problems is that they will encounter one situation, and that basically will now be dealt with, and you may reflect on it, but you really don't have that opportunity of actually changing so you can actually build up your skills to handle a similar situation, because that situation may not happen for another couple of weeks. So what we're arguing is that purposeful practice, you're actually defining now a training environment where you will be able to get sort of one trial after the next. So if you make a mistake on one test, for example, a diagnosis of a chest or a mammogram, and if you make a mistake on that, then you will get another similar mammogram if you've actually created now a library of mammograms where you actually know if they were cancerous or not. So this idea here of being able to help people getting similar kind of tasks, and so they can actually keep repeating and actually get immediate feedback, that seems to be so powerful in actually improving performance in a way that just being on the job and encountering new situations will not.